Hello, fellow songwriters, artists, producers, or simply music lovers, and welcome to the first video here on YouTube with Evolve Songwriting. My name is Jake, and I'm a professional songwriter, and today we are going to be reacting, listening to, and analyzing Ed Sheeran's album Equals, which I have put off for enough time now. I have been waiting and waiting to get everything sorted to start up this YouTube channel, and this is the first album that I'm going to be breaking down, showing some songwriting techniques, seeing what Ed's doing, and just having a lot of fun breaking these songs down and analyzing things. It's just something I love to do. So I know nothing of the album, really, how it came about, what the history was behind him, where he recorded it, who he recorded it with, his co-writers, but we have 14 tracks here. I've heard Shivers, I've heard Bad Habits, and I've heard Visiting Hours, but I've stayed away from everything else. So I'm really curious to see where he's going. Is it the same Ed? I haven't really heard anything about this album. Yeah, let's get into it. First up, we have Tides. This is performed by Ed Sheeran, written by Ed, Foy Vance, Johnny McDade, the usual crew, produced by Ed Sheeran, Foy Vance, Joe Rubel, and Johnny McDade. Let's start it. Oh, okay, big out the gate. So we have a lot of drive here already, man. Before we have even any vocals coming in, that we have dun 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 dun. This is super driving pulse groove. We're going to probably see a lot of forward motion in this song. It really, so far, it's kind of Castle on the Hill in terms of like that real momentum, big drive. Let's see where it goes. Well, okay, I'm expecting something in the next line, but so we've got strong quarter note feel, really big, dum, dum, 3, 4, right? We're in B major. I'm expecting later on the song things to sort of pull back. Everything's basically hitting that quarter note real strong, especially even his vocal, right? Is accenting that. Cool. All right. I guess a pre-chorus now. Still so strong. But we have the harmonies coming in to keep it even moving forward even further. Okay, so the variations here, we haven't really varied much in terms of rhythm. Chords, nothing super unexpected so far. We've added a bit of harmonies to keep us moving forward, but I think the big thing here is the melody here in the pre-chorus. We're starting to sort of climb a little bit in pitch, adding the harmonies, but it's really stayed quite steady actually in terms of energy. We'll see when that dissipates. I'm loving it so far. It's really big to open the album. Okay, there's the pull out. Oh. Nothing but vocals here. I love the vocoder. That's a good modern touch. Life is changing. Beautiful. Sucks everything out. That's exactly what you want to hear because we started so big and we have to suck all that out. And that just keeps you, oh man, that was really beautifully done. I mean, beautiful Ed Sheeran storytelling so far, sort of very commentary of his life. How can you not like this? This is just, we're back to that drive. That little transition there. Those little details are important there. So notice here, I'm going to be talking about this a lot through all my analysis because it comes up so much in songwriting. It's one of the most important techniques I think it is to understand, and that is subdivision and where it's used and how it's used and how it changes between the sections of the song. We have to provide something to latch on to, even when the drive of the song and that groove, that just a straight four to the floor, boom, 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 keeps going. We're not really changing that up. So where are we going to create the contrast? And the subdivision in his vocal is actually playing with that, right? Because while everything is mostly on a quarter note emphasis. His vocal here is on the eighth notes, and that's really important because you can play with that to make your song feel like the pacing is being controlled using that. A lot of successful songwriters, bands, artists will be very aware of this. Really staccato as well. We've gone from and then gone into a so just doubled, you don't have to double every single word or whatever, but you're changing the overall sort of subdivision feel of the vocal. And we just open up that space. I love the details in the production. Minimal but enough. Adding that little drone. And more, stack it up. Drums, big. Just getting the vocals bigger, adding the thickness. Everything's just going 100 here. A lot of the time we're on that, well, pretty much every chord there. We're starting on that E, the 4 chord there. Really gives it that dramatic, nostalgic sort of drive there. I would say the big things there that are really working for that song and really making that song work successfully, especially as an opener. Great opener is just a lot of energy, just to get you pumped up, which I am. I'm super pumped for the rest of this. We change a lot in the chorus. Obviously, it's a massive contrast. We pull all the instruments out, just have his vocal and the few backgrounds, the vocoder, a little ambience here and there. Yeah, the vocal rhythms and melodies are really what's creating most of the forward motion here, against the backbone of that just driving for the floor rhythm. Excellent opener, super cool. Let's move on to Shivers, which I have heard this song, but it's been a while. So let's go into Shivers. All right, Shivers we have written by Steve Mack, Ed Sheeran, Johnny McDade, Carl Lavelle, produced by Ed Sheeran, Fred and Steve Mack. So Johnny McDade showing up on this one again, and we have Steve Mack's work coming out. All right, let's listen.
I never kissed a mouth that tastes like yours. Strawberries and something more. And underneath the stars, oh yeah, I want it all.
Pretty standard right so far. Got a nice pop intro. We've got a little riff in the synth. 6, 4, 1, and 5 in the key of D. If we analyze his vocal in the verse here, we have a lot of syncopation. Let's just hear it a lot. I want to hear it one more time. Yeah, I'll talk in depth about this verse because it's so much that happens and it flows so well and it pieces so well together with the rhythm against the instrumental, against that little plucky riff. If we go over the structure here. All right, that's our sort of main line 1. And we have a little nice little response there just to fill in the gap. So we start that line off the same, and the rhyme scheme is the same as there, but he's extended, instead of rhyming them in the same spot, just in that line, we have lipstick on my guitar, fill up the engine, we can drive real far. So we have guitar, and that second line is got a few more syllables in it. And so while it still rhymes, the rhyme is not in the same place rhythmically, which can really let your lines move forward in a nice way that doesn't seem so rigid and robotic. Doesn't always have to be the case, obviously, many exceptions, but that's what he's using here. Same as line 1. And then a cadence line, something completely different in terms of melody and relative sort of rhythm in relation to just the previous lines that we've heard, something to transition us into the next section. And then a little entry. Very important to have those little entries. You got me feeling like... Just something simple like that. Again, it's a nice rhythm. It's very easy to just forget those pieces, but it really helps connect your song. Now let's go into pre-chorus. Same chords. Nice little guitar coming in. Ooh. and then into our catchy hook, which is very catchy in this song. Let's get into it. This is great pop writing here. So, like just those 4 lines or whatever. That is just, it's not easy to write such a really hooky, catchy. We have the first line. Ooh, I love it when you do it like that. So the ooh and that little pause is so important. So ooh, I love it when you do it like that. That little pause, ooh, pause, I love it, gives you, and that's on the snare, right? 1 on the 2. So doing that, it's like an implied bop. Like that kind of pull gives you movement. He could very easily just go like, ooh, I love it when you, but that pause and how you deliver that vocal with the staccato, like, ooh, I love it, is so much different to just, ooh, I love it when you do it like that. It gives you danceability through melody. And then we continue that like so just as we heard in Tides, the subdivision here of the vocal is a lot less space compared to the verse between the phrases. I love the syncopated sort of difference here against the instrumentation. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, accenting the offbeats here. Not all the time, but just mixing it in there just to give it that bounce. A little bit of syncopation mixing up in the first 3 lines of that chorus, but in the last line, and when they say the party's over, then we'll bring it right back. We have a lot of accents on the on beat, right? Da, 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 da. It's just a very straight da, 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 and even more exaggerated at the end. Bring it right back. We go into, what's that, quarter notes? Yeah. Bring it right back. Or sort of a quarter note feel just for the very end of the phrase there. Not to mention the melody going up here, right? And then that's obviously creating a lot of interest, creating a lot of setup into the next section, something fresh. If you look at the structure there, we have love it when you do it like that, and when you close up, giving the shivers, A, B. A baby, you dance until the sunlight cracks. That's our A again. And when they say the party's over, then we'll bring it right back. It's a C line. So I would say the structure here, A, B, A, C. Although the rhyme scheme, we have A, B, A, A. So you can mix and match these little structures. You know, you can have a certain rhyme structure that doesn't, and your rhythmic structure doesn't actually have to follow the same structure as your rhyming. That can really sort of make you just give your chorus or any section of your song some interest. And then we repeat. Don't discount that. And we'll say as a little pickup into the second half. So that's the syncopation I'm talking about on Sunlight Cracks, right? Sunlight cracks. It comes up between the beats, and then we go back onto the beat, which is exaggerated by the production. Love the trumpets too. and you can notice we're using a shorter range in pitch here. So we have the chorus, which really sort of high. I love it when you do it like that. And then at the end is we've got a fairly big sort of pitch range here, but in the verse, we're fairly constant in terms of pitch, which keeps it sort of low and cruising. Another thing I want to mention here is the space, right? We've filled up a lot of space in the chorus. Like most of the phrasing in the lines is quite head to tail, with not much of a gap in between. Verse-wise, we've got like sort of, phrase into the car, space. And so our space has gotten larger. That's what I call it. If you imagine the song is a room, how much we've filled that room is a lot in the chorus compared to the verses is more sparse. You don't always have to do that. You can do the other way around. You can actually have a full room in your verses and a sparse room in your chorus, as we saw in Tides, right? So you don't always have to think your chorus has to be huge. Go just to them extra harmonies. Always use these little cadences, yeah? So we've got guys, eyes, smile, and I, which is great enough on its own, but if you combine that with variations in your pitch, I want to feel like and just giving it that extra, every second and fourth line, something different. You can have your first and your third line if you're doing a 4-line structure here, which is what he's doing. Be that guy, kiss your eyes, drink that smile, feel like I.
I wanna be that guy. I wanna kiss your eyes. I wanna drink that smile.
So actually a little bit of a variation in the third one. Because I think that rhythm is really strong. Da-da-da-da-da-da. Now we're introducing a 16th note emphasis. We have sort of 16th notes in the I wanna be, and then 8th notes in be that guy. But generally the feeling of the line, the subdivision, the overall feel is actually dictated by the smaller subdivisions, even if there may be less or sort of an equal amount of them. Just bringing in those like digga 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 kind of gets your brain into that pattern for that whole thing. So that contrasts our verse and our chorus. So that's super important, and you'll see that in a lot of pop.
I wanna feel like my soul's on fire. I wanna stay up all night.
The brass in the production here is next level, and it's providing sustained notes around the groove.
Bring it right back when we'll say, I love it when you
It's catchy as hell.
bring it right back. Baby, you burn so hot.
Bridge.
You make me shiver with the
Syncopation again.
this thing is
Off beats.
I want it to stop.
Same chords though.
You make me shiver.
Keep it simple, yeah?
Ooh, I love it when
Dropping
you
everything
do
out.
it like that. When you're closer,
Those trumpets, man.
baby, you wanna dance till the sunlight cracks.
Great ad libs. I don't like. It's been a long time since I listened to this. I haven't really listened to it this properly.
Baby, you wanna dance.
A couple of ad libs where they need to be.
When they say the party's over, then we'll bring it right back. Yeah.
Beautiful. Super poppy. A lot of energy. An album is a journey, right? And so we're starting here. We're gonna probably dip down later on. When song does everything it needs to do for a pop anthem, man. Like it's catchy. Catchiness can come from so many places. Mainly though, melody and rhythm in the vocal, because that's the bit that sticks in your head, right? You could have whatever production behind that. The average listener is just going to pick up that melody, and so that's a great example of a song that puts syncopation in all the right places and really plays to that. The best way to sort of write that in your own songs is really just pay attention to it. If you're grooving and if you've got a nice beat to write to, work with groove correctly and work with groove in your favor. If you're writing a really poppy song and you want it to be super catchy, get some percussion going and start grooving yourself, start moving your body. And I think if you do that, it's going to make it easier to sort of place those syncopated lines. I will highlight as well, again, there's little in-between lines like, you got me feeling like, there's little pickups as well. And then into there was another one. And we'll say, right, just before the second repeat of the chorus. Those little pickups are going to go a long way in sort of keeping the forward motion and not making your transitions seem a little wonky or it's just sort of forced, just sort of slapped together like a Lego. You know, the song's like, you want a structured song, but you don't want it to feel like you're just kind of clear sort of boundaries between the in the transitions. The transition points are very important, and it just can take sometimes just that little 3 words. A lot of pop elements going on there. Super catchy song. I am pumped for the next one, which I haven't heard. First Times. Let's move on to that. Okay, First Times, which is written by David Hodges, another new name. Ed Sheeran, Fred Gibson, produced by Ed Sheeran and Fred. So I'm expecting some sort of nostalgic vibe again. That's all I got from the title, but at least I'm thinking of something, right? Cool, acoustic-y.
I thought it'd feel different playing Wembley, 80,000 singing with me.
Can you get a more nostalgic first verse, right? How I was thinking of that and I was already ready for that just based on the title. That's how powerful titles can be, guys. So we're in G sharp, I believe.
Then we start talking.
Very dry vocal here, right?
We do.
Creates that intimacy.
Funny how the
It's quite dry overall, actually.
can make a man. Little moments that pass us by. The first
Cool. This is very like plus era Ed Sheeran, I feel like. When you have just guitar and vocal here, again, it's very important to play with your... What have you got in terms of vocal? You have your delivery, you have your pitch and you have your rhythm of your vocal. So the pitch we have between the verse and the pre-chorus, we start to go up and we hit that.
Ain't it funny how the simplest little moments that pass us
Hit those far. And that's what I'm talking about with the delivery in the Pass Us By, right? He just, I can't do it as well as he does it, but pulling almost a whisper. So those little details can compensate when you're missing, all the production elements. And sometimes, I mean, that's what we love about acoustic, simple, intimate music, right? It's just because you can use a lot of the detail in your delivery to create the flow and the pull. Really delicate. I love the delivery. It's doing a lot of work here. I love the transition up into the high register.
the first kiss, the
And we
first
layer with the
night,
piano.
the first song that made you cry, the first times.
Can't wait to make a million more first times. There's your punchline. Great setup into that. So, and what I love about this, and this is really hard to get carried away with, easy to get carried away with, hard to keep under control, is that it's very cohesive in terms of the idea that's going on here, and it all wraps up in that punchline. So we're not really moving away from that nostalgic vibe. And the instruments are not distracting from that. It's still keeping the focus on the delivery and the intimacy of the vocal. Let's see if things sort of spread out and widen up and get a bit more reverb maybe on the vocal as we move through the song, just to fill it up a bit, because we started in a very intimate place and we want to grow that. So there's a reverb throw right on that ooh.
Greatest thing that
And we're back. Ah, strings. But just enough. I'm going to bring up the lyrics here again. I should just bring up the lyrics for all these songs. So, okay, he's making the lyrics and the way he sings them, the rhythm and the melody, I suppose, work together to provide structure, to provide movement, just keep you wanting more. And he does this in so many of his songs, just writing in a way that really feels natural. It feels very natural. So what I'm referring to mainly is this start of this chorus, the first kiss, the first night, the first song that made you cry. And then we follow that with the first drink, red wine on a step in Brooklyn. I still feel the first fight. Can't wait to make a million more first times. So it's this list. You check off these lists. The first kiss, first night, first song, right? You have it provides a pattern, and we all know we love patterns in music. Follow that pattern loosely, so you don't have to be super strict with it. Some songs do, but we have the first drink in the next line, and then we hear the 2-word combination, right? First kiss, first night, first drink, first fight, first times at the end. So it wraps up your whole chorus super nice, and it's just placed every other syllable in the right place to make it work. So listen to that chorus one more time.
I just said please.
So didn't touch on that before. So just in the end of that pre-chorus as well, extending the vocal, I remember, as a break in your pattern, subdivision, extending the subdivision.
First kiss, the first night, the first song that made you cry, the first look in your first time.
Yeah, really cool folky style. Production-wise, there's also a lot going on there, and harmony-wise, that's helping the vocal do what it needs to do. If we just stick, the last point I want to make on the vocal is how he subtly sort of breaks the patterns at the ends of the line, or maybe in the start of the line, between the lines. Seeing it a lot more these days. It just makes it feel a little more natural. So, for example, second line, the first look in your eyes when I said I love you. The rhythm there. Let's listen to that one more time.
First song that made you cry.
So first line, first kiss, first night, first song that made you cry. We have that note, da-na, and then we go down, da-na-na, at the end of the line. We start off the same again, right? In your eyes, when I said I love you. And we have a different ending. You want to move forward. You want it to make, you want to keep interest. I hear this in Taylor Swift a lot these days as well. Her whole albums, like Folklore and Evermore, were full of this. There's that. And then in the start of the next line here,
I can still feel the butterflies.
still feel the butterflies. So we actually, instead of going back to the first kiss, back to that note here, we go, still feel the butterflies. It's a very similar rhythm, but we're altering the pitch just to Keep it interesting. It's like almost the same, and you should really be looking for moments where you can do that just to elevate it a little bit more. And then we wrap it up.
I can't wait to make a million more first time.
Which obviously, I mean, should be different, is most effective different there just because it's the punchline. Cool. Leaving space. I like the decision there just to use ooze as a sort of bridge. It's a floaty song. It's a nostalgic song. A little space can go a long way.
Ain't it funny how the simplest things pass us by?
So you might be recording a vocal to that song and that little crack or those little imperfections and say, oh, do it again. But like, keep it human. Yeah. Especially in folk music, it just gives it that realism and emotion and raw emotion. And I think it even might be a little out of tune on a couple of those notes. It definitely hasn't been tuned super tightly because it works for the purpose of the song. The little whisper and remember. Little things like that. Do it.
First night, first dance,
The little crackly.
in your parents' garden. I can't wait a million more first times.
Cool. We pull everything out for the ending. Completely dry back again where we started. The final chorus here is basically rewritten. Or was it different in every chorus? No, it was different in every chorus. There you go. Didn't realize there was difference between the first and the second chorus. So we always open with the line, the first kiss, the first night, the first song that made you cry. But the rest in the end of the chorus, we change. And that's a really interesting way to keep your story moving, because I think people sort of maybe discount the fact that, oh, well, it's the chorus. It just has to be the same as the last chorus. But it can be really nice to actually change your chorus drastically in terms of lyrics. I would definitely recommend keeping, if you're going to change your lyrics in your choruses to further your story, really try and, keep the same melodic flow and rhythmic flow, which he has done. It's cool that a lot of the story is actually told through the choruses. Big credit to the delivery of Ed's vocal there. It's done a good job to actually hold the attention. It's beautiful melodies. The melodies have been crafted really well, and the lyrics fall in the right place, as they should. Everything just sounds very in the right place. Just having your choruses wrap up so nicely like that and do a lot of the storytelling. That was really cool. Super intimate. Everything's working together. You have the production being quite minimal, especially in the beginning, and then towards the end does ramp up with some piano and weten up. But you can notice the difference in intimacy and space when we start out with just a very dry vocal, very small sort of feel. And then it kind of widens up and wettens up. They add a little bit more reverb and the harmony layers and everything as you'd expect. You don't need huge changes in energy, and I don't think you really see that here. So don't always think you have to be having massive contrast production-wise between sections or choruses or whatever. Next is Bad Habits. I've already heard, but all right, let's get onto it. Bad Habits. We've all heard this one. I definitely have plenty of times. This is Ed Sheeran, Fred Gibson, and Johnny McDaid. The trifecta, produced by Ed Sheeran, Fred, and Johnny McDaid.
Every time you come around, you know I can't say no. Control.
Strong melody here is doing a lot of work, and we both in the production and in the vocals. So this is we're using these sort of 2-note chords here with just the root and the third in the next octave up. I call these dyad chords. I don't know if that's the official name for it, but you can get a lot of melody and harmony out of those in the one. They're like a full package. You can just I want you to notice how the vocal dances around that in the verse.
Every time the sun goes down,
And the rhythm of the vocal, it's just straight eighths, right? Against the syncopated accents of the riff that's going on there. This is our pulse, right? Bum, 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 bum. We have syncopation towards the end of that riff, but the vocal is just straight on. So you get them to bounce off each other and placed in each other's pockets. Good thing to do.
let you take control.
And Little variation at the end of that line there. We went up instead of down. And that snare is all you need to exaggerate that vocal accent even more, right? Listen to where the snare lands on his vocal, right? It's lined up with his vocal, and that just reinforces what I said earlier. Climb, 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 climb. Spread out, and a bass drop, right? Which is a great decision. There's nothing else going on there but like make you dance, right? Kick, and then the hardstyle bass. The vocal is actually, you could probably take the vocal out. Not much would change. Pick up as well, by the way. So that's very important. To lead us in, to pick up into the chorus. But when we get down in the chorus, late nights, we have the first two words, right? Late nights on the down, and then which is we have a little bit more offbeat action going on. But this is simple, right? Production-wise as well. It's just, there's not a lot of elements, but they're all working exactly where they need to work in each other's pockets. Listen to the bass line again, right? Let me have a listen as well. Yeah, so bum, bum, bum. I was getting the wrong chord. We go from something like that. It just leads us out here before we even get to the chord change. I really like that. Here and now here, like the song's already written now, so we're just adding things that exaggerate those pockets. Well, that's a cool effect. In the background vocal there. Pretty much everything that got added there was just enforcing that dump bump 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 bump. If you're using that eighth note rhythm, dun 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 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. I show you what I mean. I think it was the first fill. Right, that little background up in the space between his phrases. Good time to start, and then we brought in that whatever that background vocal is, right? That could have been on any note. It's not really there for the melody. It is filling a little, space in the pitch spectrum here, but it's like sidechained or something, but or delayed or whatever. It's like there's a little bit of stutter to it, which is actually making it more of actually a rhythmic instrument. Just keep that dun, 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 dun. And there's it's got some stutter on it or something. It's very easy just to maybe put that in, but we need something to fill the gap here, and it's just like leave it as like a longer phrase, but just adding that sidechain or stutter gives you more of what you want in this song, which is eighth note drive to make it dancey. That's the sort of thinking you need to actually get your song more cohesive. Cool. Second chorus. Little transition. Whee! That's just, ear candy. Subtle little 16ths in the back. Just ups that excitement a little bit more. It's right in the back there because the main drive is you don't want it to be too like ticka 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 ticka. You just want to sit on this for 4 minutes, right? That's dance music. Cool. Interesting choice to actually keep the kick going on eighth notes there. Because this is full out, right? This is just guitar and vocal. So didn't quite pull all the energy out in the post-chorus just there with the kick. We stepped down in 2 phases there, right? We have the big chorus with everything in. Right. Everything's going. And then, so bridge, which has pulled a lot out since the chorus, but not everything. If you took out everything there and had that just guitar, then you couldn't pull it out again for this section. So we've come down in stages here. Notice the guitar there is doing full offbeats, right? Implied kicks, implied beats, whatever you want to call it.
but it probably won't.
So I'm still grooving, even though nothing's actually giving me the four to the floor kick.
It happens after two.
Just groovy.
It's true, my bad habits
Again, the background vocal has a stutter on it. Just, it would have worked fine if it was just, it would have still got excitement out of it, but just that little extra thing. That's a nice texture as well. And it's as simple as that. Like, that was a massive hit. So we got, as the time of this recording, 806 million streams. Obviously, a lot of marketing and support behind it, but it's a simple song. Let's be honest. Like, there's nothing huge to it. It's just right rhythms in the right place, playing with the right syncopation, not letting anything distract from that purpose of the song. Absolutely love that tune. It was in my head for days after I heard it, and it keeps coming back. Overpass Graffiti is written by Ed Sheeran, Fred Gibson, and Johnny McDade, same as the last track. Quite sure what to expect here. Let's give it a go. Oh, okay, definitely not nostalgic. Or could be lyrically. Oh, it's like disco-y. Great bass. This is different. This is different, man. Oh yeah. Yeah, this is the 80s. Okay, we'll stop there. This is cool. I really actually just want to listen to this without stopping, but we've got a big sort of retro thing going on. I love the vocal processing going on. We've got this massive reverb that's very present. It's not really hiding at all. But it's great because like the backgrounds, the percussion and everything's very like very grainy and like it's like tickling you. And that reverb is just kind of gluing everything together. It's like sometimes you want your vocal to be like poking out rhythmically against your backing or of the percussion here. Like it's very sharp. It's very, I don't know. I just love the reverb here. Just a little bit of sustain against all those drums. Vocally is nothing really unexpected. It's kind of sitting low. This is kind of like almost The Weeknd's Blinding Lights, just in terms of where it kind of starts off pitch-wise. Just to show you what he's doing here with structure, but we haven't heard this structure yet in the album, so we have A, kind of B line, but the end of the celebration hip hip hooray is lovely to use. It gives you a lot of space. Space. So it really allows you to go further later on the song. But production there is nice. Just adding that big, all these synths coming in. Love the arpeggio. Still got a lot of space on the end of the lines here. Next chorus, I'm just going to focus on the chords a little bit because we have a little non-typical chord going on there. But back to A minor. So 6/5/4. Again, more plucky, more scratchy, like the muted guitar there in the back. Just a lot of these, it's really nice. Little things just to poke at your ears. So we got a 1, 5, and then a 2, and 4. Oh, 5 at the end. So that's cool. That's a nice little. I don't know. That makes me feel like a little more. It gives it like a little mellowness. That's nice. It's a nice touch. But I haven't even talked about the vocal and the melodies and everything going on here. I might just keep it going and then talk about the whole chorus, which is amazing here. It's still just your standard like kick, snare, kick, snare, kick, snare. It's a very strong foundation of groove. Like if you just took out everything but the bass and the drums here, The song would still be super strong.
I will always love you for what it's worth.
Yeah, I think it's a really sort of trend at the moment for vocoders, especially just like sort of bringing them in just for a little bit. That was a cool little section.
Never feel like graffiti on the
Church bells, dun, dun. Good production. I mean, the whole album's going to have great production. I mean, I love that. It's a texture that we haven't had yet in the song, right? So think textural as well. That, I mean, it is a pitch that is sitting in its own place, but just the texture-wise with the falsetto is, and whatever effects he's got on there, it's really, you latch onto that. It's nice. And that's it. I want to go over that chorus one more time. So if we cast our minds back into the verse, so we were leaving a lot of space in the phrasing. We were leaving a lot of room to go up or down in pitch here, where we're sort of middle of the road. We're just kind of writing that in the verse and leaving the space and just sort of enjoying that beat. And now going into the chorus.
The cards were stacked against us both.
First we pull out a little bit. I will always love you. I think the shift there and what I'm really enjoying there is when the vocals take over a little bit. I'm sort of swayed away from, like, I'm still got that beat there to drive me and to keep me moving forward, but much more legato and full in terms of space compared to the verses. So between the words, there's not too much space. It's just the graffiti on the overpass line, right? On the overpass. Like he sings it in one, like graffiti on the overpass, not graffiti on the overpass. There's no little pauses, it's just one. We're very drawn out. Give us some singability, I guess. Little variation in pitch. Time will change. That's another example there. So the line's very continuous. Remember the way we were, you were the first of my love. So it's just very continuous, I guess. Continuous is the right word.
Baby, you'll never be lost on me.
And this provides a little break before we get back into just to let us settle back into the drive. It's kind of bouncy, especially the long notes there is all those are on the offbeats. And then we go back to the verse. So here we go back. Goddamn shame. See the difference right now? We're goddamn shame. We're down back on the downbeat. It's the same thing he's been doing the whole album. At least just that touch of goddamn shame. We have something strong. We have something very strong and straight to ground us. Walk away. It usually provides a lot of strength to have that goddamn shame as a strong point just to ground us in the first line. And then we can do whatever we want after he breaks. That he goes into syncopated offbeat open space thing, but we come back to that walk away. It's just really nice to have that grounded spot before we lift off into the chorus and the pre-chorus. We're just playing with those rhythms. You got to do that. If everything is just like straight, you're going to bore your listener. And if everything's off, like, well, sometimes you can actually get away with that. But more often than not, you want to mix of both, and you want to think, where am I going to provide strength? Where am I going to provide a bit of a break? Cool. And that's pretty much it. Just very full production towards the end. I've spoken about that little background work, and that's doing a lot of work. We have a lot of this rhythm happening in that song, which always keeps us sort of in a familiar place, but providing something like just one rhythmic idea that keeps showing up. So, but great rhythms, enough contrast, but enough little details that are sort of consistent throughout. Mostly that rhythm. But great song. I would love to listen to that again in fullness, but my camera's running out of time, so we are going to go on to the next one, which is The Joker and the Queen. Okie dokie. Next up, The Joker and the Queen credits. Written by Ed Sheeran, Fred Gibson, Johnny McDade. Sam Roman is joining the ranks. Produced by Ed Sheeran, Fred, Johnny McDade, and Romans, which I'm guessing is Sam Roman.
Crazy thing. I showed you my hand, and you still let me win. And who was
Just
I
in C?
to say that this was meant to be? No,
I'm just enjoying this.
you could fall for 1,000
This is great.
kings and hearts
So soft.
that would give you a diamond
Ooh.
ring when I fall.
I have not heard really this kind of thing from Ed. This is,
The Joker and the Queen.
yeah, I don't think I've actually heard Ed do like he's done piano songs before, right? But they're less intimate, I feel like, or less like, it feels very close, very light, very light. This is the lightest piano work I've seen him do. But yeah, nothing to really comment on, but it's just piano and vocal, right? And so when you're doing that, a lot of care needs to go into your delivery and your lyric.
The Joker and the Queen.
Cool. I was focusing a little bit more on the lyrics there. So, and it just says here that this was written in 15 to 20 minutes over Sam Roman's instrumental. So I guess Sam is the one that playing their piano. That's gobsmacking to me. 15 to 20 minutes over this piano. So lyrically, great example of having a lyrical palette, which is already teased to us in the title, The Joker and the Queen. So we start to see all these lyrics like, I showed you my hand. And then you could fall through 1,000 kings, give you a diamond ring. When I fold, you see the best of me, the Joker and the Queen. We have these sort of poker card game terms. We have a cohesive lyrical palette. I love the opening. Opening lines are super important, and I love, how was I to know? It's a crazy thing. I showed you my hand, and you still let me win. I need to hear more of this story. Let's keep going. I'm trying to get a picture of this together. Obviously, we have some sort of relationship.
I was upside down.
Ooh,
From
guitar.
the outside in. You came to the table.
The tone on that guitar is
And you went all
impeccable. More imagery, right? Came to the table and you went on in.
with a single word and a gent into forever.
Beautiful vocals.
I know you could fall for 1,000 kings.
It's almost got like John Legend style vibes here.
Give you and I know you
Great
could fall
interval.
for 1,000 kings. The Joker and Queen.
Yeah, I don't know how to interpret this. It's a bit of a sort of mysterious metaphorical one, but not much to this song. It's just gentle. It's nice and light, but it's got a great sort of. It's just got a lot of imagery that works really well, and wordplay. It's super simple, but yeah, I'm trying to decode the narrative here. So, the Joker and the Queen. Is that some sort of like misfit, and Queen as in like she's like this perfect girl. When I fold, you see the best in me. So I guess maybe when I guess him or Ed or the male in this narrative, maybe he might make mistakes, and then she still sees the best in him for that. Great song. I think it's using a lot of small space, a lot of intimacy, doing these little high to low things really get you rising and falling with the chords and the music. So we fall into the chorus. Lift, lift again.
That would give you a dime.
Lift again. All right, that's interesting. It's really in all songs I think you should do this, but look for where it's lifting and look for where it's falling. This is a very, very lifting chorus. We go
Give you a diamond ring.
and
when
then
I fold.
we fall. Okay, and then we lift,
You saw the best in me. The Joker
lift again, and we fall. Just a nice little break there. Nice little peaceful break. It just provides a break in the journey of the album, which we will now continue with Leave Your Life. Okay, so this one is Leave Your Life, written just by Ed Sheeran, produced by Ed Sheeran and Elvira and the Fjord. Swedish, I guess. Oh.
If I forget to say goodbye,
Some beatboxing. Haven't heard that in a while from him.
would you know the way that I feel when I'm away?
Is it going to pick up? Are we going to feel more of a... Or is it going to stay in this sort of relaxed feel?
But I'm never gonna leave your life.
Ooh, the rhythm here is working, man.
You are always on my mind. Ever and now will be by your side.
This production is cool too. This must be... What was the name? Elvira. You can tell the production here is just someone else. This is not typical to his. I love it. This is the reverse swells here, and then whatever's going on in the back. The weird texture of that beatbox part or vocal sound, whatever that is. You know, you've got a nice. We've got a pattern. We've got a really strong. We've got something that grounds us, which is that dum. Whatever song you write, you have to have something that is a reliable thing to either come back to or just be there. And usually it's going to be a groove. Even if you just have like a piano and vocal, you'll be surprised how much the piano or a guitar or just one instrument can actually provide that. But here it's just that boom. It's cool. There's all these breaths. It's so much reverse sounds going on here. This is so different, man. This is cool as. I can imagine he wrote this just like acoustic. And whoever this producer is just really giving it some character, man. The background. I like this is definitely my favorite so far. It's just so interesting. Just because I've never heard these kinds of sounds on an Ed song. Like we've got some weird synths, we got some weird percussion, we got some weird textures. It's great. But his familiar vocal. Woo! Oh. Like you see how much the production is just doing what it can to get that pump. Everything in the production, most things in the production has, again, like it was in was it Shivers? I think it was Shivers. You know, where everything was working towards that. Now here everything's working to the pump, to the doom sha, like we're getting that breathe. Like the song is breathing real heavy here. A lot to do with being a good producer rather than being a great songwriter. I mean, you have to have a good song to be able to do this too. But you got to have enough awareness that it's like, okay, what in the song needs the weight, needs the attention? What do I need to reinforce? Otherwise, you just kind of take away from the spine of the song. Let's finish the song. I really want to just listen to this whole thing one more time. And then it just stops. Are you kidding me? Whoa, that was cool. Let's maybe just give it one more listen over. I can actually pay attention to the lyrics this time.
If I forget, would you know the way that I
repeating the rhythm and the melody. You know, very amateur songwriter might just, you look at the rhyme and you're like, cool, it rhymes, it's good. But rhyme applies to rhythm and melody as well. It's a lot stronger to have a line that repeats its own rhythm and melody, as well as the rhyme, which we have here.
Feel when I'm away. We'll see the same.
This constant referencing of this motif, this rhythmic motif, dun, 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 but the vocals playing a little bit with that sort of cross rhythm, which is a good contrast against that just steady. Cool. And now here we go from like a broken melody just to a very legato open, and obviously reaching the new pitch height. A lot of things contrasting to the verse. So pre-chorus, we get to the new pitch height. We have something completely different rhythmically, which is just our pacing slows down a lot in terms of subdivision. Into the chorus. There it is again. Right, we're coming back to that motif. That's kind of a Max Martin thing. There it is again. Never forget, but we always come back to that rhythm. But it doesn't sound boring because the melody is sort of different each time. So sometimes we're like da, da, da. Some other times we're da, 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 da. It's a completely different melody with the same rhythmic motif. So we're not like lost completely. It feels connected. This is great. Like this is really good writing. I mean, the dude's pretty good. But now we're bringing in a little more excitement in the subdivisions with that guitar part, right? Dun, 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 dun. And yet I can't describe the shape, which I highly recommend doing, especially if you're a producer. Having parts. So we've got whatever that synth, that reverse synth, that's kind of giving us our a longer of a part of a subdivision with the shorter ones on the guitars and everything. So you're spreading out. No, everything's not playing the same subdivision. That's very important. And I love there's just a variety of textures in his voice. It could very well have gone a falsetto there, but we're using all the ranges here. We had this real raspy just before that section, and then we have just a nice clean full and then sometimes we have the really light falsetto. So use your voice, man. Your voice is so versatile. And if you can't sing, or you don't, you just want to write songs, find a singer that has the ability to do that. So that's another example there. The background vocals is going on a subdivision to 1 2 1 2. So I'm pretty sure half notes there. That's great. Yeah, it's rough. It's got emotion behind it. I don't know if that's like the proper singing technique, right? But who cares? If you just get the emotion that you want, don't hurt yourself. But cool, excellent track. My favorite so far. Very happy with that one. It's just a great song. Wow, impressive.